Falls are not a balance problem. They are a prediction problem. And if you miss this, you'll train the wrong things. You'll focus on strings, you'll focus on being super careful, and yet falls still happen because falling is not about how strong you are, it's about how confident your brain is in your movement. And this is really important because when your brain doesn't trust what's about to happen, it slows down. The body stiffens and it limits your options, and that does really increase the risk of falling. And it changes how you live. You avoid uneven ground, you hesitate the stairs, you move less freely, and over time that impacts your health, performance, and your longevity. But here's the good news. Falls are not random, they are not bad luck, I mean occasionally but not really, and they are not inevitable. And you can actually prevent them because they follow a specific pattern, and patterns can be trained. So when you think about it, every step you take is a decision because your brain is constantly asking, am I safe? Can I recover? What if something changes? Can I adapt? If those answers are very clear, movement feels very easy. If they're not, your system goes into a protection mode, and protection often looks like being cautious, against stiffness, and it reduces your adaptability. And that's where falls come from. Not weakness, not age, but uncertainty. Welcome, I'm Heike Fallon. I'm the founder of Expand Health and the creator of the NeuroHP method, and I combine neuroscience, sports therapy, and personal performance coaching to help individuals who are absolutely not willing to be limited, help them optimize their health, personal performance for longevity. And I always say, if you move better, you feel better, and you're definitely going to live better. So basically living longer with more fun, and who doesn't want that? And for over 30 years, actually, I studied the brain, the body, and their connection. And today I want to share why fall prevention is not just about balance drills. It's not about standing on one leg and hoping for the best. And it's definitely not about just fear. It's something a lot of people don't realize. Falls are brain-based skill issues. And in this video, you'll learn why falls happen long before the impact, how the brain predicts safe movement, why vision and your environment really matters, and how your feet have an impact on your balance. And of course, stress and pain, how that has an influence as well. So this applies for active people, leaders. If you're retired or simply you want to keep moving well for decades ahead, this is for you. But before we go any deeper, I want to make sure you grab my free PDF guide that's below in the description. You can download it and start working on that. Now let's start at the beginning, because again, falls don't happen when you hit the ground. They happen when your brain loses certainty, and that's way before. And in this section, I'll show you how your brain actually decides whether a movement is safe and why even strong, active people can still fall. Your brain is a prediction machine. Before you move, it predicts the outcome. Not consciously, but really automatically, because it happens super fast. So every step, every turn, every reach, your brain will always ask, do I know where I'm at in space? Do I know where the ground is? Can I recover if something changes? And if the answer is yes, everything is great, movement is awesome. But if it's a maybe, then you become a little cautious. And if it's a no, then your system really shuts down, and that's when also confidence in movement gets really destroyed, and you're getting hesitant and tight. And the key to understand here is your brain constantly compares the expected situation of the input with the actual input. It's expected means what will happen next. That's what it's expect. But the actual input means what my senses tell me is happening right now. And when those match, that's great. And when they don't match, which we call a mismatch, the brain increases protection, and protection again shows up as slower reaction time, reduced range of motion, delayed adjustment to a situation, and that's the moment fall risk increases. So think about it. You've done it probably, I've done it, stepping off a curb or at the end of a staircase, right? And you didn't see the step or thought there was another step or it wasn't a step, and so you step, it goes further down or you didn't even expect it, and it's this awful short moment where you catch yourself. Hopefully you could be also falling, but it's that time when the brain didn't expect that it's there, and then you step and it is there. So what happened is the prediction was wrong and your brain had to react super fast, and hopefully again you caught yourself. So a lot of people think, well, I need better balance. That's good, but balance is the outcome. Prediction is really what the driver is. If your brain predicts well, balance happens more naturally. So if it doesn't, no amount of balance drills standing on one leg will fix the root cause. So this is where most people get it wrong, right? And the key here is being careful actually makes prediction worse, because you're not moving as much, right? Because when you're careful, you move careful, you slow down, then your joint stiffens, you're restricting your options, and your brain gets even less information. And so less movement means less feedback, and less feedback means even poor prediction. So it kind of creates that loop of uncertainty, caution, stiffness, and that reduces the adaptability and more uncertainty. So that's not safe. And I hear it all the time. I'm just being careful now. What my clients usually mean is, I don't trust my movement anymore. And the brain responds by limiting the speed, limiting the range, and avoiding the challenges. And that's really the down spiral. So, because that feels safe in the moment, but it's not great for long term. So fall prevention is not about avoiding movement, it's about improving prediction quality. You want to make sure that your brain gets clear sensory input, accurate timing information, and enough variability to adapt. That's what really builds confidence. So now, if prediction is the key, then the next question is, where does the brain get the most important information to make those predictions? And the answer might surprise you, because the system that's most dominant in prediction is not strengths, it's not your muscles, but it's your vision. And I know I've talked a lot about vision, but hey, it matters a lot. And if you've been following me and it hasn't clicked yet, maybe now there comes that little aha moment. Because when you think about it, feet are important, and we'll talk about it in a minute. Your hips may be involved in there, but really balance is led by your eyes first. And your brain trusts that vision more than any other system when it comes down to movement. So vision answers very specific questions. Where's the horizon? How far is the ground away? Like near, far, right? Am I moving? What is stable? And your brain uses that information to plan every step. And if the vision is clear, prediction is better. If the vision is unclear, you become cautious. So it's really important, because we want to increase adaptability and not reduce it, because reducing it increases the risk of fall. So a large portion of your brain is involved in visual processing. It's not just seeing clearly, but interpretation, motion, contrast, depth, and vision is tightly linked to your posture, your balance, your reaction speed, and movement timing. So when visual inputs are off, the whole system adjusts, and not always in a helpful way. And here's something a lot of people also don't realize. Your brain doesn't just care about what you see, it cares about how things move relative to you. So this is called the visual flow. As you walk, right, the environment moves past you, and your brain uses that to judge your speed and the stability. And then if that is disrupted, by a cluttered environment or poor contrast, different lighting, screens right before movement, prediction quality drops. And many people start looking down at their feet because they're cautious. Now that kind of removes the horizon information. It also limits your peripheral vision, so you're getting kind of focused. You're looking down, activating the flexor tone, and you're being very careful, and that can backfire. If you want to have better balance, you need to look ahead. You need to, allow that whole peripheral vision. This gives your brain more information, and more information means better prediction. Better prediction means more confident movement. Got it? So your environment plays a huge role. Like I mentioned, the lighting matters, contrast matters, stairs, curbs, shadows, and your brain is constantly interpreting these signals, and you want to make sure that your environment supports that clarity, not make it more confusing. So this is something I work with my clients, with real life, not just in the gym. So we do vision exercise while on the walk outside, or in the grocery store, or pushing the shopping cart. So we want to integrate that and train that in daily movement as well, not just in the gym. So let's go further. If vision leads prediction, something else confirms it, right? And that confirmation comes actually from the ground, comes from your feet, because I said we're going to talk about the feet. So in this section, you'll learn why your feet are a good sensory organ, how foot feedback affects your reaction time, and why certain shoes increase fall risk, and how to train the feet for better balanced decisions, because fall prevention doesn't start at the ankle, it starts actually all the way on the ground, at the brain connection to the ground, which are your feet. And so feet are not just for standing on, they are actually a huge part of information that gets sent to the brain. And the feet report everything. Every step sends information, the pressure underneath, the texture, the load that's on there, the timing. So your brain uses all that information to answer, again, one key question: can I trust the ground? And if the answer is yes, you move more freely. And if the answer is unclear, your brain slows everything down. And that's really important, because slower reaction increases fall risk. So the sole of your feet contain thousands of sensory receptors, and they connect directly to the brain region involved to balance, posture, movement planning. And that means your feet are part of your balance system, not separate from it. So your foot feedback needs to be really clear in order for the brain to have the best information coming in. So, most people spend their day in shoes, and that blocks a lot of sensation, that reduces a lot of feedback from the sole of your feet, and it limits your foot movement as well. So over time, the brain stops trusting your feet. So it compensates in the high up chain, so that the ankle stiffness, the hip overwork, posture kind of changes, and the balance can be off from that. So not because your feet are weak, but because the brain is missing information. So when you do a little misstep, or there's really no time to think, you react. And the reaction speed depends on really how fast your sensory input is detected, and how clearly the brain interprets it, and how efficiently the body responds. So not good foot feedback slows that whole loop down. The better the feedback loop is, it speeds it up. So in favor for you to take your shoes off occasionally, be barefoot, walk on socks, go on different surfaces, right? Because that's really important to get a big variety of different information to the brain. And that's what we do also. We integrate brain-based movement all the time, because better information creates better decisions. And here's a simple way to start trusting and working on your feet. So let's do it actually right now. Take your socks off. I got mine off already. Feel the pressure under your feet, right? So just kind of stand right now. You may even close your eyes, or if you can't stand up right now, you can do it seated, but definitely I would highly recommend take your socks off and feel the ground, okay? And now let's just kind of shift the weight a little bit to the heel, and shift it forward a little bit. a little bit to the side. Again, I recommend close your eyes. Kind of feel how the soul is getting loaded. Is it left more, right more? Try to find the middle again. You might even lean forward and more in, so you get more pressure on the inside and the big toe. And then you can roll it over to one side, to the little toe, to the outside there, kind of doing a circle. And feel that and pay attention to that. So this is how you can start giving your brain more and better information coming from your soles. So now let's talk about what really connects your eyes to your feet. It's actually your vestibular system. That is a very small system deep inside. It's your inner ear, and that has a crazy amount of influence on your balance. The vestibular system tells your brain where your head is and how fast you're moving and what direction you're going. And the information is really critical because in real life, falls really rarely happen standing just still, right? They happen when you turn, when you reach, when you look up, when you bend down, or you're changing direction. And every one of those movements involve your head, and the vestibular system is directly connected to your eye movement, to your posture, your muscle tone, blood pressure, the autonomic nervous system. So that means if the vestibular input is unclear, your whole system becomes less stable. Not just balance, but even confidence. Now, a perfect example, you may have experienced it yourself, or you've had some loved one or friend happen this. You sitting down, you're coming up quickly, and you're feeling lightheaded, and you're grabbing onto something, because you're feeling a little unstable there. That's your vestibular system. So now imagine that happens during a turn or on stairs. That's when falls happen. So a lot of people don't realize turning is one of the most fall provocative movements, because turning requires head movement, eye movement, weight shift, timing. If any part of that system is delayed, the brain hesitates, and hesitation is where instability comes in. If you think avoiding head movement would protect you, that doesn't really work, because it actually makes the system even weaker, and vice versa. If you're struggling with head movement, that actually might weaken your system so much that it has an influence on your balance. So another layer deeper, stress, because stress changes how your vestibular system works. When stress is very high, especially chronic stress, your vestibular processing slows down, your visual vestibular coordination drops, and your balance confidence decreases. And that's really important, because when you're rushing or distracted or there's emotional overload, understand that your balance is compromised and you may be more prone to falls. So fall prevention is not just movement training, it's actually state regulation. And so nervous system state. So you want to make sure that your breathing supports your balance, your head movement is confident, and your system stays adaptable. So this is something I teach my clients consistently, because the better the system functions overall, the more we're going to protect the fall. So let's try one other thing. Try standing tall. Okay. So we're going to find either 2 points, or you can use your hands here. So we're going to actually first check in with your feet, see how those are doing. And now I want you to move your your eyes to your finger, and then you turn your head. Then you move your eyes over to the other finger and turn your head. Move your eyes over, turn your head. Make sure you're not too far apart, right? Eyes over, turn your head. Eyes, head. Eyes, head. Eyes, head. Very good. So here you train right now your visual and vestibular system. Now, we did it standing. Ideally, you might want to do it even in a staggered stance, or on a single leg, or eventually possibly in movement. Give it a try, but that's very advanced, so don't start there. So that is a great exercise to get started training your vision and vestibular system. Now we covered the systems: vision, we covered the feet, and we covered the vestibular input. And now let's talk about pain. Okay, pain as well as stress absolutely impacts your balance, and that is what a lot of my clients don't realize. Pain is not just a discomfort, it's a prediction signal. When pain is present, even mild pain, the brain changes movement strategies automatically. When pain increases, you automatically become stiffer, your posture becomes more protective, and that means your joints don't really move freely, your timing is off, and the balance reaction slows. And this is really important because many falls happen not because of pain, but because of how the brain compensates for it. So someone tells me, my knee, isn't that bad, but their brain disagrees. A subtle shift in the weight, change of timing, avoiding certain angles, that compensation works until it doesn't. And then they see me, okay? Pain is information, and if you ignore it, it does not build your resilience. Listen to it intelligently actually makes a difference. So this is something I teach my clients all the time, is that we need to restore again that trust and work and figure out the compensation patterns and really go down to the root problem, and in order to actually make a change. At the end though, brain-based fall prevention is integration, not isolation. And this is how many, fall prevention programs kind of miss the point. They train things in isolation. They balance on one leg. They do their strength training otherwise. They may stretch, but your brain doesn't work in pieces. It works in systems. And your brain never asks, is my balance strong enough? It asks, can all these systems work together fast enough when something changes? And that's the real question. And that's why integration matters more than any single drill. In real life, your brain has to process visual information. It has to get the foot feedback, the head movement, the body position, your emotional states, all at once. If one system lags, the whole response is slow. And this is important because falls happen during unexpected movement, not during the controlled ones. And here is the insight that I want you to get. You don't prevent falls by perfecting balance. You prevent falls by improving adaptability. So in my NeuroHP method, fall prevention focus is on clarity of information, confidence, coordination. And it's not about avoidance. It's, it's really something I teach my clients. It's all about learning to deal with the uncertainties. All those exercises really mirror real life, and you're never balancing without vision. You're never stepping without foot feedback. You're never turning without head movement. So we train them all together. And here's something I want you to remember. You don't need long sessions. You really need more regular input, and your brain learns best through frequent, low threat repetitions, a little bit pushing, but not where it's too much, and that's how it builds confidence. So fall prevention is not a phase. It's not something you only think about after something happens. It's really a longevity skill. And most people think about how long they will live, but what really matters is how long can you stay independent, how long can you trust your body, and how long you move freely. This is really important. Again, a fall really just a physical event. It's often because a psychological turning point is happening as well. Because after a fall, many people move less, avoid challenges, hesitate more, and don't trust their body as much anymore. And what happens then, really, it has an impact on your cognitive function as well, because your brain isn't getting the stimulus it needs. Your cerebellum doesn't get as much activation anymore if you're not moving. So reduced movement really accelerates aging, not because the body fails, but because the brain stops getting that novelty, the input, that it needs. So exploring keeps the brain adaptable, and adaptability is longevity. So this is where NeuroHP method fits perfectly, because we don't look at just fall prevention as a one single drill, one exercise. We look at the whole system, at the brain, again, the input, how accurate your predictions are, and how your internal state is. And that's why we train vision, feet, vestibular, breathing. And then your body, right? Your body needs mobility, coordination, adaptable strength, not rigid control, but responsive movement. And the environment matters. Your environment has an input. Your lighting, the surfaces, if you're wearing shoes constantly, or how stiff your shoes are, how the visual clutter is. You want to make sure that your environment supports good clarity for your brain. And self-leadership is a big part that ties everything together. So choosing to move, choosing to practice, choosing to stay engaged, not from fear, but from empowerment. This is something, again, I teach my clients. And when you think about it, fall prevention is not about avoiding life. It's about being ready for it. It's about trusting your body when something unexpected happens. It's about moving with confidence, not just today, but for decades to come. So don't forget to share this video with anyone who you think will benefit from this and need to hear this or need to know this. And I consistently upload new science-based content, so follow me on this channel and make sure that you subscribe, because you don't want to miss out on all the great content I'm sharing. I'm Heike Fallon. I hope you will start investing in yourself and start today, because you deserve it. Thanks for watching.